Hello everyone, we're gonna put everything together in this video, talk about the dinosaurs, the nuclear stuff, the giants, all together, one big grand unified theory. Let's watch it. Well, hello everyone. A very super exciting video today. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am by this information. I was just reading that soft tissue has been found in dinosaur bones. There was one biologist, a professor, and he keeps reporting that he keeps finding soft tissue in dinosaur bones. He was fired from his university for saying this. He believes this is because of young Earth and the dinosaurs not being that old. I have another explanation which I'm going to elucidate in this video. And he wasn't the only one. They're supposedly finding this soft tissue in bones which are 190 million years old, apparently. I don't think so. They're not that old at all. They're actually quite recent. And I'm going to explain everything in this video. This is unbelievable. And they found blood cells, collagen tissues. The stuff is no more decayed than stuff you find in mammoths. And this goes against what we know about fossilization, that rock should have replaced tissue, but it hasn't. They've even found blood. They've looked under the microscope and they've said, that looks like blood. Is this a contaminant? And some of the scientists have said, well, they've come up with explanations which don't make any sense, but these have been published. And the explanations say stuff like, well, the iron in the blood has preserved the blood. But if that was true, we'd see the blood in every fossil. And we can explain everything by these guys, the giants. Between 120,000 and 60,000 years ago, the Earth was populated by 1 billion humans of gigantic stature, of intellect exceeding Nikola Tesla. And they ran a worldwide super civilization. All the world was one language. And they were interested in the past. They had their own naturalists, far more than us. And all these dragons, where do these dragons come from? Ancient legends, humans slaying dragons. They have to come from somewhere. These are probably dinosaurs which existed until recent times. But to account for the fact that dinosaurs did go extinct 65 million years ago, and the fact that they seem to have been around more recently as dragons, we have to say there was human intervention. The humans cloned them, as we are going to clone them, perhaps, if our civilization survives the next century or so. And we are going to produce these. They produced them. They would have had Jurassic Parks, but they produced them in other ways, which I'll get to. And they gradually conquered the Earth after the giants all died out. And the giants had a great and mighty civilization, technologies far exceeding ours. They had extended lifespans, which are recorded in the Bible, due to their technologies. They had cloning. We have memories of this in the Bible. They had unbelievable technologies, flying cities. You just have to consult the Indian texts. They talk about ancient nuclear warfare. Nuclear weapons far more destructive than any we have today, even planet-destroying nukes. Unbelievable stuff. And these guys were more intelligent than us. So they used the nukes. What does it say about us? Well, it just shows you, if these are produced, they are going to be used. And they were smarter than us. And despite the horrific war that engulfed them, a few of them survived, and they came up with a scheme to repopulate the Earth after they were gone. There were Pandora's boxes lying around the Earth, deposited around the four corners of the world in secret locations. Explosive charges would free them from their geopolymer tombs, and for tens of thousands of years, these boxes would work autonomously. They would be powered by fusion-type reactors. Flares would be released, distributing genetic agents all over the Earth, firstly to wipe out and alter life, and then to modify it and restore the Earth to factory configuration before the giants arrived and just wiped out the Earth with their super civilization. And you can find aspects of their civilization in mines everywhere. They're in ancient mines, but they're crushed and they're cooked. Several of these objects thought to be from God and proof of God by ancient humans in about 2000 BC. One of them was considered to be the Ark of the Covenant, and it had tremendous destructive power. I believe it was with genetic agents. Tens of thousands of people are recorded as being wiped out when this box was opened. It must have been from genetic agents. It also had electrical power inside. And then there were other destructive events, such as the Toba supervolcano. Imagine if Yellowstone went up. Well, that's what happened 70,000 years ago, and the number of humans was reduced to a very tiny number. And I believe after that, the scheme of all these Arks of the Covenant went into action. Humans were wiped out, and it was decided, okay, humans have stuffed up, no more humans, we are going to fix things, and we are going to restore the Earth. And they decided to make everything green again. It went a bit haywire in the Amazon, a little bit too much there. And yes, the dinosaurs, they brought the dinosaurs back as well. That would explain the dragons. It would explain the soft tissue. And I'm not just saying this, I'm about to prove it. Out of Africa, okay, take everything we know and reverse it. They show the colonization of America last. Actually, what they're trying to show is the recolonization of the world after the Toba crisis of 70,000 BC. But actually, the humans would have emerged from somewhere in America in very tiny numbers, and they would have spread, and they would have conquered Africa last. That's right, the humans got to Africa last. And this is proven by the fact that we have megafauna in Africa, but nowhere else. It's been killed off everywhere else, basically by humans. But it survived in Africa. And I've always thought, well, if humans have been in Africa for 3 million years, why are these still around? Surely they would have gone, but they're still here, but only in Africa. Yes, there's the Asian elephant, but you have the more mega ones in Africa. You have creatures, amazing creatures like this. And creatures like this would have been all over the world in local varieties based on natural selection and local ecotypes, but you don't get them anywhere else. This is a statue from I photographed in Tasmania of an Australian marsupial lion, as they think it would have been, but it is extinct long ago. You just don't get these amazing huge animals anywhere else. You get the hippo, amazing animals. And you not only get this megafauna, but there were dinosaurs as well all over the earth until the 20th century. And this explains the dragon phenomena, but you only got them in lost world type environments. For example, the Stegosaurus. It was described by people living in the Congo in the 1960s as the animal with the planks on its back. And it has its own name. They gave names to different types of dinosaurs. Expeditioners in the 20th century going to the Congo would go to remote villages, and they would flick through books filled with dinosaur pictures, and they would show these to the people, and the people would give them their own names because they had names for all of these creatures, and we have to account for this. We have to have an explanation for this. And they called this the animal with the planks on its back, and there were some lakes they were afraid to go to because this is where the animal lived. Some lakes were inhabited by hippos, other lakes didn't have any hippos, and that meant there was a different type of predecessor species living there, which was the Stegosaurus. This is a mokele-mbembe, as they call it. It was described in the 20th century as an animal the size of an elephant, with the body of an elephant, brown scaly skin, a huge long scaly tail, and a massive long neck. And as you can see, it would look like a sauropod. And again, when they showed the primitive peoples in these villages the pictures in the book about dinosaurs, they identified all these animals, and they even pointed to different lakes and things where they lived. The pterodactyl also was in Africa. It was in Australia as well. The T-Rex also was in Australia. This creature is amazing. There is a case study of an expedition which went into the heart of the Congo in the 1920s. There was an ambitious British officer, and he took his men in there. He took some Africans in as well, into the jungle. And one of the men was separated from the group, and he was attacked by this giant bird, wounded in the chest, with what he described as an enormous beak. And later on he was in hospital recovering, and the British officer showed him a book about dinosaurs, and he asked the guy to flick through the pages and to see what he thought. And the guy was flicking through the pages and not having any reaction at all. And then he saw the page about the pterodactyls, and according to the story, he screamed and fled the hospital. He just bolted. And I find this all incredible. And tell me what you think. I am lost for words. Totally lost for words. I don't know what to say. It feels strange to me, but putting everything together, I think that's what happened. Might not be right. Tell me what you think. Cheers.